Have you ever looked at one of those massive concrete dams, with a huge, calm lake on one side and then a bustling, glowing city on the other, and just wondered, how did those two things connect? Well, the amazing truth is that entire city is being powered by nothing more than falling water. Let's dig into how that's even possible.
I mean, it really does seem like magic, doesn't it? How can something as simple and natural as water falling downwards generate enough electricity to run factories, light up entire stadiums, and, yeah, even power the device you're watching this on right now?
Well, the answer is beautifully simple, and at the same time, incredibly powerful. It all comes down to one of the most fundamental forces in the entire universe: gravity. That constant, invisible pull is the real engine behind every single hydroelectric power plant on the planet.
So, to really wrap our heads around this, we need to start with the core science behind it all. Let's take a look at how engineers take the stored, hidden energy in that still water and completely unleash it.
It all kicks off with this concept called potential energy. You can think of it as the energy of waiting. All that water held back by a dam is just loaded with potential energy, simply because of its height. The higher that water is piled up, the more potential energy is just sitting there, ready to be turned into something else.
Right, so that still water is basically like a bowling ball being held at the top of a skyscraper. All that potential is just waiting. A hydroelectric dam is just a very, very controlled way of dropping that water to unleash its energy, not in some destructive crash, but as a really productive force.
Okay, so that's the principle. But how does that translate into these massive structures we see in the real world? Let's follow the journey of water as it's transformed from a calm lake into a powerful electricity-generating force.
The whole process really boils down to these 4 key steps. This is what takes us all the way from still water to the electricity in our homes. So let's break down each one, starting with the dam itself.
Seriously, you should stop thinking of the reservoir as just a lake and start thinking of it as a massive battery. It's not storing chemical energy, of course. It's storing gravitational potential energy. Every single drop of water that flows into it adds to the charge, just waiting to be discharged as power.
All right, so our energy battery is fully charged up. Now how do we get the power out? Well, this next phase is all about the machinery that converts that stored potential into pure, raw motion.
This is where the action really begins. A gate opens up, gravity takes over, and water just plunges down this massive tunnel called a penstock. And that giant water slide analogy, it's perfect. It's a steep, smooth ride designed to get that water moving as fast as humanly possible, converting all that potential energy into pure speed.
At the very bottom of that water slide, all of that rushing water smashes into a turbine. Just picture a kid's pinwheel, but instead of being spun by your breath, it's being spun by millions of gallons of water. This is the exact moment that potential energy becomes mechanical energy, the actual physical spinning of a machine.
So now we've successfully created this powerful rapid rotation, but that's not electricity. Not yet. Now we come to the final, and frankly most brilliant step in the whole process: creating the actual electric spark inside the generator.
So that spinning turbine is connected by a huge shaft directly to the generator, and inside, it all comes down to a really simple principle of physics: moving magnets past coils of wire. As these giant magnets spin, they create a changing magnetic field. This field gets the electrons in the copper wire all excited, forcing them to move, and voila, creating an electric current. It's just a beautiful demonstration of physics in action.
And just like that, the journey is complete. The current created inside that generator is sent out through massive power lines, traveling all across the country to power our world. And it all started from water just being held up by a wall. Pretty amazing.
So we've seen the incredible engineering of how it all works, but now let's kind of zoom out and look at the bigger picture. What are the real-world pros and cons of harnessing our rivers in this way? The advantages are huge, no question. It's a renewable energy source, and once it's built, there are no fuel costs. And hey, unlike wind or solar, it can run 24/7, providing a super reliable source of massive amounts of power. But the trade-offs are pretty significant. Damming a river fundamentally changes the entire ecosystem, which can disrupt fish migration and flood huge areas of habitat. Now, engineers have been working on these problems for decades. Modern dams often include really clever designs, like these fish ladders. They basically create a series of small pools that allow fish like salmon to bypass the dam entirely. There are other strategies too, like managing water flow to mimic natural river cycles, all in an effort to reduce that environmental impact. It's such a powerful idea to think about. From the simple pull of gravity on a single drop of water, we've engineered a way to harness that force on this immense scale, totally transforming the landscape to power our civilization.
So that's the journey of how hydropower turns water into light. It's an absolutely amazing feat of harnessing a fundamental force of nature. And it leaves you with a final thought, right? What's next? What other natural force are we on the verge of unlocking to power our future?